I love LA so much. I love the light. In LA, Mulholland Drive is a famous road. And there's much mood. There's so many stories about that road. And it's a very kind of dreamy thing to think about. You know, the old story, so many people come here to try to realize their dreams.
Mulholland Drive was a particular road that I remember when I was down on my luck, and remember thinking, oh, this day is going too bad, and this has been a succession of really bad days. I could just do a quick turn and just drive off this cliff. But there are times when you just drive smoothly around and the light's right, and it's the opposite of that. And it's, you know, you're listening to the right song, and so I think it's, again, a great symbolic thing that, you know, can mean a lot of great things to some people and a lot of very dark things. The long, unending, winding road. I just have to give you some backstory. I'd spent 10 years of auditioning in Los Angeles, where lucky if you get to meet the director, and if you do, it's a quick 5-minute meeting. You might not get a bit of eye contact or a handshake or anything. And then I get this call, you have a meeting with David Lynch. And I'm like, oh my God, this is obviously an incredible opportunity. Anyway, nonetheless, David looked at me right away, eyes and connection, and he just was beaming with light, and somehow I just suddenly felt like his energy relaxed me, and I was able to show myself, because I think from so many years of rejection, I built up veneer after veneer and thought, okay, who do they want me to be? Am I supposed to be funny, sexy, smart, shy, quiet? And I didn't know who I was anymore. But whatever, the way he looked at me was just so powerful, and he actually asked me questions. So there was a conversation. It wasn't just eyes on me. I actually felt the courage to talk to him and ask him questions, and suddenly we were two people. And I walked out of that meeting just like almost in floods of tears. It was one of the most special. Sorry, it's getting pretty cheesy now, isn't it?
So beautiful.
Your wish upon a star, whispering on the phone, your kiss when we're alone, the way you thrill my heart, your voice so neat, you say we'll never part, our love's complete, those are all 16 reasons why I love you.
Headshots are one thing, but then I like to meet the people, or sometimes Joanna will has people just talk on video. I never make them audition a scene ever, and I like to talk to people or see them talking, and then I get a feeling about them, and I can see if they can make it through the film. Like I'm running scenes in my head, and they'll see this person can go this far or do that, but that it's not going to work for that, and it goes like that. So eventually, through meeting and talking, I find the people like that. Naomi came in and did not look exactly like the photograph that I had fallen in love with.
It was disappointing.
It was not disappointing.
A little bit.
It was devastating. So I asked Naomi if she could come back with some makeup on, and then she did, and we talked some more like this. Naomi was friends with my assistant's son, and they were talking and jabbering away, and then I see another side of Naomi, and already I was maybe, say, 98% there. But that day, I just said, you know, Naomi's perfect, and she turned out to be perfect. So we went to work on the pilot of Mulholland Drive. The title was going to be used as a possible spin-off of Twin Peaks. And then that didn't happen, but the title came over. We gave the pilot, not yet finished, over to ABC television. And the executive in charge watched this pilot at 6 o'clock in the morning, standing up on the phone, drinking coffee with a thing on a TV across the room, and he didn't like it.
On the phone?
Making phone calls, you know, like an executives they do. So, but, you know, sometimes these things, it happens. Everybody knows that sometimes something looking very negative can be a gigantic blessing. Like with Twin Peaks and Mulholland Drive, it's like I see it as a film. We're shooting celluloid. It's scenes, it's actors and actresses, and places and mood, just like a film. So my friend Pierre Edelman came over from Paris for a visit, and we were talking, and it was very sad that this thing was stopped. And he said, well, let me talk to some people in Paris and see if it could get money to make it a feature. A thing started that took a year. I mean, it was a long time.
A year and a half.
Maybe a year and a half. I started calling to find out where they stored, you know, the sets, where they stored the props. I started, you know, getting a real bad feeling. All the props went back, they call it back into the stream. Wardrobe back into the stream, sets destroyed. I didn't know what was going to happen. And then right about that time, the contract got done, and that meant we're going. But I had zero ideas. Zero. And this is a true story. That night, the night of the green light, with no ideas, I sat down and did my meditating. And this particular meditation, I dived down in there, and as I say, like a string of pearls, one idea after another came, and I knew exactly what to do.
When David called and said that might be happening, the level of excitement. And then I came back here. There were 18 pages, I think, extra. I just thought, wow. I mean, right away, every time you look at a script, there's usually one thing that really pops out and goes, oh my God, I get the whole part. I know this woman. I know what to do, and I have to do this. Well, already I had this, so it was obviously that audition scene.
Now, if I tell what happened, they'll arrest you and put you in jail, so get out of here before... Before what? Before I kill you. Then they put you in jail. Then I cry, and then I say with big emotion, I hate you! I hate us both! I hate you. I hate us both.
I remember us being in that building, and we went to a boardroom and rehearsed with all the actors who also had many experiences and their own version of that story to tell. And I just remember seeing the smile on David's face, like it was Christmas. It was a magical moment. It all just worked beautifully. And like all David's films, they're heightened reality or surreal or stylized. And I felt when I was doing some of the scenes, he was pushing and pushing and pushing, and I thought this could be the worst performance ever. But he'll never let you go past the truth. But I just looked back at the film last week for the first time in 15 years. And it was up there, that arrival scene in the airport of Betty's, and he kept saying, he was like, that's great, Naomi, but let's do it again. Let's just go even further. It's like the first time you've tasted ice cream, like you're just a kid whose eyes are popping out of your head. And I was like, I'm like, I felt like almost ridiculous, but it works. This was her dream. David will never allow, even if it doesn't make complete sense to everyone, he'll never let it not be truthful. It has to resonate in authenticity.
You've come back.
I think he basically lets an actor do what they want to do, and then he adds what he feels is missing, and not in a line reading or a result even. It's just a feeling that is coming to him. Before each scene, we spent about half an hour to 45 minutes blocking it and rehearsing it. I think he wants to put it up on its feet and then see what needs fixing. There were times where we would have to do it over and over again until we got it. The masturbation scene was particularly difficult, and for obvious reasons. First of all, I had a terrible stomachache that day. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
And I
I'm
was
sorry,
making
Naomi.
many visits to the bathroom.
Damn.
And obviously it was butterflies. I was just kind of freaking out. And so David created this little tent around me, so in order to make me feel comfortable. And I would go from crying to being angry, and and I think he wanted to do it all in one shot, but because I couldn't get to the place, he did that fabulous shot of the fireplace wall.
Well, that would have been in there anyway.
Oh, would it?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember saying, as my hands are down the pants, aware of, 35 people outside of the black tent, I remember saying, David, I can't do this. I can't do it. And being mad at him for making me do it. And he just said on his, what do you call those things?
Megaphone.
Megaphones. Okay, Naomi. Okay. That's okay. No cut. Not hearing the word cut, not hearing any reloading or anything like that. So I just keep going. So I remember being pissed. I was like, okay, because I'm supposed to be thinking of my lovely friend and, imagining her. And I was like, I was pissed off that I had to keep doing it. So we just I did crying, I did anger, I don't know. It was just wildly uncomfortable. The thing with David is he just keeps you going. You want to please him because he's after something really true, and you don't want to give up. I mean, his theory is that we don't all have to have the same understanding. Different things appeal to different people at different times, and it's not all logical and making perfect sense. But if it's real and true, it links up and you can connect.
The theme of Mulholland Drive. Angelo and I were working. It had nothing to do with Mulholland Drive. And I don't remember why, but I wanted a Russian feel for something. And we wrote, Angelo wrote a Russian thing. And then we were working, I wanted another Russian thing. And so we were working on that Russian thing. But both of them kind of came to a dead end. And so I said, why don't you try, Angelo, put the two together? And Angelo his head is kind of wobbling. He's running the notes in his head. He starts playing, and there's the theme to Mulholland Drive. Unbelievable heart and emotion comes through that music. It's so beautiful. I sit near Angelo, sometime on the piano bench, and I talk in words. It doesn't matter really where we start. Same like with rehearsal, you start where you start, and I talk to Angelo, and he plays what I talk. And if it's not right, I say, no, Angelo, and I have to change my words. After a while, and it happens pretty fast, Angelo will catch something. Angelo, that's so beautiful. And off we go. And that's how it works. Okay, there's a story about Angelo from Blue Velvet. Angelo, we were shooting in the Slow Club, and Angelo is playing piano with a band on stage while Isabella sings Blue Velvet. And so we're setting up a shot. The piano is on the edge of the frame. Isabella is in the center. Angelo senses where the camera is, and he starts scooting closer and almost off the piano bench to get in the shot. So once you get that idea about Angelo, he's kind of shameless. I always say, it's sound and picture flowing together in time. Its sound is so important, and so it just seems to be common sense that sound being so important is something that you work very hard on to get it to feel correct. Same way with the picture, same way with every element. All these elements have got to feel correct. A lot of times I say picture dictates sound, but a lot of times it's the reverse. You find some sound or something like that that says a mood, then you try to get the picture to go with that. Or you find a piece of music and a scene pops out of this music, then you get the picture to go with that. Cinema is a lot like music, that it has movements and it has it needs to be fast in this area and slow in this, and it has transitions just like in music. When all the elements are going together, you can get a thing. I always say the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Sola llorando, 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 no es fácil de entender que al verte yo estoy llorando.
In this very room, one morning, where I've got a music agent named Brian Laux. And Brian calls every now and again and says, David, you got to meet this person. They want to just come up, maybe have a coffee and sing for you or do something like this. So Rebecca Del Rio came up. She's less than 5 minutes off the street, and she goes into the booth there, and John Neff is sitting on the console and hits record, not for no reason really, except everything's kind of set up, and she's fresh off the street. She sings that version, and that's it. And that version ended up in the film, and that version got me thinking, and I'm thinking and thinking, and that her version married with this other idea, and then that whole Silencio scene was born.
It's all recorded. No, I, banda. It is all a tape. Il n'est pas d'orchestre. It is an illusion.
The tone of the film, there's the thriller aspect and there's the surreal thing, but there was so much humor. There's so many funny, absurd moments. That whole sequence with the shooting through the wall. How he has to, like, how he keeps making mistakes. I mean, that was just brilliant. I love it. But that's David. His sense of humor is one of his most wonderful attributes.
And then there's the love scene too that people.
Oh yeah, people love that. And I have to say, 15 years on, it was pretty hot.
It's a nice scene.
It's pretty good. I'm as
But,
as
yeah, the thing
as sort
is-
of freaked out as I was on the day. I'm pretty glad that's on celluloid for because it's not like that anymore.
It's about love. It's about love, and it's so
it was
beautiful.
tender. It was really, really.
Yeah, no, it's real important.
I'm in love with you.
My assistant, Gay, she went to some screening or something, and she told me about it the next day, and she said, oh, and it was so fantastic because Ann Miller was sitting right in front of us. I said, Ann Miller, and she said, she's would be perfect, for Coco. And I said, she sure would be. And anyway, one thing led to another, and there was Ann Miller.
I don't believe you met my mother.
Hi, I'm Diane Selwyn. Well, just call me Coco. Everybody does. Pleased to meet you.
What a great gal she is. She is so, so great to work with. But everybody was great on that. Everybody was great. Monty Montgomery, there you go.
Yeah, see, a lot of those people are just his friends, not real
Well,
actors.
the thing is, like, Gay, one thing about Gay, she wasn't a good typist. She wasn't a very good assistant, even. But I loved her so much. I would dictate to her, and I felt like I could say anything. It was such a good feeling in the room. And so it's in that kind of freedom, you can say things and ideas can come freely. So I was sitting, and all of a sudden, the cowboy started walking in, and I start talking, and Gay's typing, and it was like my friend Monty was perfect for the cowboy.
Man's attitude goes some ways, the way his life will be. Is that something you might agree with?
Monty was perfect, but Monty cannot memorize a line to save his life. So it was very difficult working, but
Did you have
so
to put
perfect.
up boards?
Justin was holding the dialogue, but it looked like Monty was reading, or Monty couldn't read it or something. And we worked hard, but Monty was so good. And Monty brought his own wardrobe. That's Tom Mix's clothes. And they're worth a fortune. It's like incredible wardrobe he had. I feel so fortunate that I found Naomi, and there's a line in the thing, you're gonna knock it out of the park. Naomi knocked this thing out of the park. She is such a fantastic actress. And since Mulholland Drive, everybody knows that. Everybody's seen her, shine everything she does. So very, very, very fortunate. Very fortunate. And it shows you something about life. You never know. It's fate plays such a role. And all these years, Naomi's going along with the stuff, but never gets a green light. And so when you get a green light, it's such a beautiful blessing, and you can show what you've got. And she had the stuff.
Well, thank goodness
Yeah, but it's
that
not
you
me.
made that
No.
happen. Yes, your
No,
genius tapped into.
Yeah, it's
You
like- it's-
took all the crap away from me that was telling me I was no good and not worthy, and I'm wasting your time. Let me get out of here quickly. He sat me still and said, I'm interested in you. And therefore I was able to.
I
could
sure
cry.
love you. I sure love you, Naomi. You're fantastic, and it's, like you said, so fortunate.
So fortunate.